Hey music fans! As a roadie, I had this great opportunity to tour with all these bands. I wrote a book about my experiences on the road, and it was the #1 new release on Amazon and Bios, and it's now sold millions of copies on Kindle. I'm Joel Roadie, and this is my podcast, Party Like a Rock Star.
Yeah, but those Sabaton dudes are legit.
I thought it'd be fun to put these two videos back to back. This is my buddy Kyle Taucher. I'll explain who he is in the intro after this. But I played him a Sabaton track, and he really seemed to like it a lot, so I figured I'd play him a second one. So I'm calling the video The Making of a Sabaton Fan. So anyway, let's jump into the two videos here. You'll see the intro. You'll know who he is if you didn't watch either one before. But I hope everybody enjoys it. Thank you guys. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have you heard of a band called Sabaton?
Sabaton. No. Before I speak out of school, where are they from?
So they too are European.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think you'll dig them.
I mean, are they homeless, or is there a source country that they're from?
No, there's some course. I think
some park benches. Yeah.
Well, so the singer of this band is actually, her husband is the drummer of this band, Sabaton. So I know that some of them are Swedish.
Oh, I mean, this singer, the Nightwish singer,
the Nightwish singer, yeah. So I know that some of them are Swedish. I just don't know if all of them are. That's why it's my
So it's a Scandinavian, Northern European thing.
This episode features my friend Kyle Taucher. Kyle's a bro. He was the frontman of an influential nardcore band out of Oxnard, California here, by the name of Dr. No. If you've never heard of him, influential's cool, and that Kurt Cobain was a fan. You guys can check him out in this photo here from when he was, I think it said 18 years old, but look at the poster on the wall. Look at the other one, too. I love some Black Flag. I hope you guys do, too. Anyway, what Kyle's been up to since then. So, Kyle wrote a track called Mr. Freeze. It was covered by Slayer. That led him on to some other ventures. He'll explain in one of these episodes. But he became a visual effects artist. He's been nominated for 8 Emmys. He's won 2 Emmys. Those were for Firefly and Battlestar Galactica. He just recently worked on Top Gun in the visual effects department. More recent than that, what he actually started up here during COVID was writing. And so I have one of his books here, Live Wire. It was a present from him for my birthday last year. It was real cool. I appreciated it. You can read more about Kyle. You can check out his other books and see what he's up to always at kyletoucher.com. You can find his books also on amazon.com and enjoy. I also want to throw a thank you, a shout out to the people at Cream Magazine. They sent me their newest issue. You can go to cream.com and you can subscribe to the magazine yourself. If you don't think Cream's cool, you're not cool. It's great that we got some publications back, I think. I think it's neat. So anyway, let's jump into this episode here with Kyle and see what he has to say. Let's give it a go.
Sabaton. Bismarck, about the battleship? Is this a song about the battleship, Bismarck?
Okay, so here's the deal with Sabaton. A lot of their tracks, and I've been told their very early tracks were not all history related, but this one clearly is, and all the ones I'm aware of are. They're about battles, they're about war, and I think these guys are super badass. You're a big history buff. Your history knowledge is amazing to me. When we've talked about certain things, but I feel that if you went down the road of listening to their catalog, you would dig it. But
have you ever seen a photo of the Bismarck? That fucking ship was gnarly.
Really?
I mean, oh yeah, you should splice a photo of it in here when you do, because that ship was just a traveling gun platform that the Germans built. It was so fucking huge they couldn't. I mean, there was no place to port it. I mean, it was gigantic. The thing was a sitting duck, because so there was the goal was to sink the Bismarck, because in those days you would park the thing off the coast and just shell the shit out of a place, pound them into submission with artillery. And I mean, look up a picture of the Bismarck. It's absolutely frightening, that shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
On it. Will. All right, let's jump into the track. You can let me know what you think. Let's give it a go.
So this is Sabaton. Okay.
Sabaton, that's correct.
British sea power keeping vengeance on that German battleship which blew up the mighty battlecruiser Hood.
The signal comes by wireless. The plane has spotted the plane's man.
So, did you find the boat?
Nice work, fellas.
Liked it?
I really like the effects work. So, what I don't know was this song included in the soundtrack of a movie about the Bismarck? Because those are expensive shots.
Not that I'm aware of. So this is pretty typical of a lot of their stuff.
So there's a big VFX budget in those things.
I
The
don't
only
know.
reason I bring that up for
Pretty
those
big
for any of your viewers who don't know, I've been a CG artist for a long time, and so I ended up stopped listening to the music and I was just started looking at the work, and I noticed the first comp when they were on the boat and in the background they'd put in a CG Bismarck coming to them in the murk, and right there, and it was in the plate. It looked great. The silhouette of it, you could see how motherfucking big that boat was. That thing was a scary motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know? And well, what I don't know, as it's documented in the thing, is that it went down in a naval battle. I don't remember whether or not that ship went down in a naval battle or through aerial bombardment, but maybe ships ganged up on it and sank it. But it was a big thing to get rid of that boat. That boat was a big problem in World War II, and that effects work looked awesome. So that was great. And they're doing they had their Judas Priest thing going and all that. The singer's very bold, and they sound great. They play really well. I didn't even get a look at the drummer.
The married guy. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he was the only married guy. Just
he was a married guy. I don't know.
I don't know where my wife is.
All I know about the band is a married dude.
I don't know what city my wife's in. But
well, I'm gonna play another Sabaton track for you that I know you're gonna really get a kick out of.
Yeah, there was a lot of synth going on in the background. I think to me it sounded like maybe they didn't need that, but that's their thing. Maybe that's a studio guy they hire. I have no idea, but big riffs, strong sound. Singer's very strong sounding.
Oh yeah,
and plus he could be catcher somewhere with his vest on everywhere if he wanted to play baseball. Have himself a second career. Maybe when Cantrell leaves the band to go and Alice in Chains, he plays. Maybe he plays for the Phillies or something.
That's the Nightwish reference here, people. Okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna jump into a Sabaton track that they released more recently. It's a track by the name of 1916. And I think you're going to really dig this.
Well, that's World War I, so yeah.
All right, let's jump into it. You can let me know what you think. I'm going to jump into a Sabaton track that they released more recently. It's a track by the name of 1916. And I think you're going to really dig this.
Well, that's World War I, so yeah. What's great, though, is to see that, large-scale rock and roll is still very much alive, because it's, you feel almost that it's dead in the United States because media is not paying attention to it,
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that it isn't there, because it always is there and it's not going away. And I don't want people to get discouraged that they think even American rock and roll or wherever is on life support, because actually it isn't. Go to Instagram and watch some 12-year-old burn a Van Halen tune, and you'll know that it's still very much here. But I hope that there's still kids putting bands together in garages and suffering in vans and playing in clubs, and it was different when we did it because there was no internet, but that was the Stone Age. So
yeah. Okay, let's jump into 1916. You actually do know this track even though you don't know it, so let's jump into this. All right, let's give it a go.
16 years old when I went to the war to fight for a land fit for heroes. God on my side and a gun in my hand, chasing my days down to zero. And I marched and I fought and I bled and I died, and I never did get any older. But I knew at the time that a year in the line was a long enough life for a soldier. We all volunteered and we wrote down our names and we added 2 years to our ages. Eager for life and ahead of the game, ready for history's pages. And we brawled and we fought and we fought till we stood 10,000 shoulder to shoulder. Our thirst for the Hun, we were food for the gun, and that's what you are when you're soldiers.
cool do those string instruments sound?
There's a lot to like there. There's the song itself is absolutely epic in the way it's performed, the way it's sung, and the band isn't making it about themselves. It's about the history of warfare. You see Roman legionnaires, like Leonidas was walking with the doughboys from World War One and the American revolutionaries with their foot. It was, and the real honest to God filmmaking going on there too. That was awesome. That was a great piece. Now, was this a cover of a Motorhead tune, or is this based on something Lemmy had written?
I believe it's a cover of the Motorhead tune, but
Okay. Well, it's been reworked and rearranged, and
heavily.
Yeah, the other two Motorhead members, obviously, because the song itself was only about 328, but then we hear the song again played morosely, on cello, almost like an adagio, and the imagery, the VFX, the fact, planes from different eras are going by. And God, if you're going to listen to history rock, listen to that.
Yeah.
I mean, they honestly, I think they do the history rock thing better than Iron Maiden does. And that's saying something because they were, there was a bread and butter for a while, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner and, Aces High and all that kind of stuff, which are great, but that thing hit a real emotional note. I think they did a great job with that. How old is that?
Oh, it's not old. This is actually a recent release.
Well, it's great job. And they shot it in Birmingham,
Birmingham, indeed. Yeah.
Birmingham, which is, the mother of metal. That's the place that gave us all those bands, Sabbath, Motorhead, and Priest. I think Iron Maiden's from there too, I think.
Yeah.
But a lot of metal came out of that industrial, place, and not only the Peaky Blinders came out of Birmingham, and I thought that was I have nothing, snarky or anything to say about that. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really well done. I think that singer is really strong.
Cool.
Yeah, they sounded great. Yeah, I would watch that. I'd watch that again. Gosh, I'm probably going to show it to Andrea. So
okay, sweet.
Yeah. Plus, right now too, because they're trying to. It just shows that the people who run this planet want all of us dead because they want us to go do that for them. It's not for you. It's not for your country. It's not for the. It's for the cartels that run this planet. And that's where they send us. That's the amount of disrespect they have for us. Is they expect us to do that for them. So next time a war comes around, next time they give one, don't go.
Question random a little bit, not off topic a little bit. Did you ever see Slayer play your song?
I never did see them, and I had an opportunity to go see them in Ventura, but the night before that, a couple of friends of mine, we had one of the most insane alcoholic shenanigans experience ever, and I had a severe alcohol poisoning the next day. We went through we were drinking beers and Jägermeister and all this shit, because this was 1990 something. And we had like 3 passes. And I think this might have even been before they covered Freeze, I think, because I was 95, 96, maybe. And I listened to the recording of it. They got the lyrics wrong, but whatever. And but it was very nice of Jeff Hanneman to do that. And I met Kerry King eventually. I have told you the story when we met him at a Morton's.
I know it. You're welcome to share it because I love it.
Yeah. So eventually I met a Morton's in Anaheim. Morton's is a steakhouse. For those who don't know, you get home of the $80 porterhouse, right? That kind of thing. So we're at the the NAMM show in Anaheim, and we walk in there, and it's packed. It's just chock full of rock and roll in this steakhouse. It's awesome. So it's maybe 2012, maybe 2013. So Andre and I walk in there, and I see Kerry King there. And I said, "Oh my God, that's Kerry King." I've never been able to meet anybody in Slayer and thank them for covering Mr. Freeze. The back end of that story is that they covered Mr. Freeze. They gave me an advance of money, and at the time I was very broke. That money allowed me to buy the gear I needed in order to learn the software and everything that launched my visual effects career, which resulted in Emmys in my living room and all this stuff. Oh, yeah. So he needed to know that because the connection is just too bizarre, right? So one of the biggest metal bands in the world covers a punk tune I wrote in my 20s, which leads to my visual effects career, which gets me an Emmy for Galactica and Firefly.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, you can't make that shit up. So anyway, so she goes up to Carrie King, says, "Hey," and he thinks he's a groupie, and he blows her off. And she goes, "No, no, 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 no." She goes, "Kyle Toucher from Dr. No." And I guess he was a little flip with her. He goes, "Yeah, whatever." I go, "Well, he's over there." And he never said thank you for Mr. Freeze. She goes, "Oh, send him over." He comes over. We hit it off immediately. We're taking pictures, flipping off the camera, all that stuff. And so I tell him that story, essentially. And he goes, "That's the most insane thing I've ever heard." He goes, I go, "Yeah." I go, "You're not going to believe that." I go, "There's a direct connection between you covering that song and what I'm doing right now." He goes, "Dude, that's awesome." I go, "Now I have to confess a sin." I go, "I've never seen you guys live." He goes, "What's wrong with you?" "Well, fair enough, Mr. King. What exactly is wrong with me?" He goes, "Well, you let us know." I go, "Because next time we play Nola, you guys just come and it'll be awesome." So we never took him up on the offer, and Slayer retired from playing. But it was Hanneman, it was Jeff that wanted to make that punk record because he was all into that. He was into verbal abuse. And he was a Dr. No fan, and as was Cobain, and and all that other stuff. So I mean, look, we might not have sold any records, but other bands liked us. So
yeah, man, super cool stuff.
Which was awesome. So yeah, one of these days maybe I can get Carrie King copying my book, and we can have something to read on the road. But it was a really cool story. So, have I ever seen any live footage of Slayer playing Mr. Freeze? No. So, Does that exist?
It does, actually. I did find one.
Are you going to show me that now?
Okay, let's jump into it. Why not? All right, sure. Let's pull it up.
That's kind of like the setup for it. So
there wasn't actually a setup, but I'll find it here and we'll do it right now. Let's give it a go.
All right.
Hey, the podcast is over. What are you still doing here? Well, while you're here, like and subscribe. Thanks.